Hey, good afternoon. Um, what's this? This is Thursday, and we are working on our double wedding ring. I'll show you. This is one that I done in ombre fabrics. The arcs are done in the ombre, and today I am working on one in purple batiks. So I have all my pieces already cut. I did cut them a little. I cut everything at 2.5 inches square, just because I think the instructions say pieces 1 through 8 cut at 2 by 2.5, and then 9 and 10 at 2.5 by 2.5. I just cut them all at 2.5, and then we have the melon part is on a batik. Everything's a batiks today. So I have basted, if you can see that, I basted between the solid line and the broken line. And then I cut it out on the dotted line, did the same with part E and part D. So there we have. So I just set those aside. Here I've got a second one ready to be basted. I just leave it all together like that. Well, I cut them all out roughly. There's some extra foundation around the outside, and then I just placed them. A 10 by 10 square works just fine for part D, C, D, and E. So if you have a layer cake, if you want to have different fabrics for your background that all kind of blend together, you can do that. And anyway, I am working on part A right now. I've got pieces 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 done. I'm getting ready to do 6. You can see I have a little extra fabric there. Hey, I hope everybody had a good couple of days. I was on for about, I don't know if I was even on for 5 minutes on Tuesday. We were doing a workshop down in Yucca Valley, and when I went on at noon, most everybody had started their lunch break, so I didn't have to show sewing to share with you. So it was a real quick on to say hi, and and then away I went. So it was a really good trunk show and workshop. We had a lot of fun. Like I said, I'd been there before. We couldn't remember if it was 3 or 4 years ago. Time flies. I thought maybe it was only 2 years ago. I got to see some projects from the previous workshop. So, but everybody got their heart done and got flying geese going for the project we did this year. Okay, so now we're going to add piece number 7. Hello, hello, hello. Learning how to sew from your grandma. That's how I learned how to sew. I was pretty young when she first gave me a needle and thread, taught me how not to poke myself with the needle. And she would give me scraps from her sewing, and I would make clothes for my doll. And I think I couldn't have been more than 3 or 4. I'm first memories. But she started my love affair with fabric and thread. Working on Dwen Star. A lot of little pieces in that one, huh, Sandy? Dwen was my dad. And my mother didn't sew, but my dad was he just encouraged me. He loved, and it was his mom who taught me to sew. So he loved that I loved to sew. When I got an A in sewing when I was in the 7th grade, my dad promised me when I started the class, if I got an A, he would buy me any sewing machine I wanted. Okay, I got all these done. So now I'm going to trim around on the outside edge on the dotted line. See how steady I can do that. You're seeing with me how this is going to look. I have no idea. This is the first block with this fabric that I made. And then I'll cut the ends. Get rid of all those scraps. I will use my ruler to cut the ends straight at 1/4 of an inch. Well, I guess the line is 1/4 of an inch. Kind of dark. Okay. Hello. Okay, so there we have part A. And I'm going to put it on to the center part. So what you want to do is once you have it all done and trimmed, you see these the little V's. This is so dark it's hard to tell. You don't have to cut the V out. Just cut where the V is. Don't want to go all the way up to the broken line. This helps to keep from it puckering. Let's see. My dot is in the center. I'm just going to kind of finger press that fold to mark the center. And then I'll take my part A and my center, match it. And yes, I pin Some of these pins I like better than others. And then I'm going to go down here and put a pin in the corner where the two seam lines come together. And I'm going to go down here and put it through at the point there. Kind of twist the fabric so the edges meet, just like that. Oops. And then we're just going to work our way around, matching those edges. And every once in a while, oh, why do I keep pulling those little thick pins? I put the pin through the seam line and make sure, look at that, it matches. Make sure that it matches. And we're just going to ease that around. Fits nice. Like that. And then I'm going to come down here and do the same thing on this end. I'm going to put my pin in right at the corner where the two solid lines come together and poke it in the end on the melon piece. And then you want to set it so that your fabric edges are even. And then you can see that's going to fit just nice. And keep pinning around. We're going to do, this is the traditional double wedding ring. And on Saturday, I think I'm going to do the wedding star. It's just a little, I'll show it to you. It's got the star coming out from the center. And then the other two are the other one we have designed. The star sits in the center. It's in the center of the block, not where all the parts come together. Let me see. Yeah, I do. This is the wedding star. It's also a table runner. I don't know if you can see that. And I've rounded the corners. And then you can see the whole thing if you check online. And then this one is called Starlit Rings. And the arcs are solid fabric. And then the star is in the center like that. So we'll show both of those on Saturday. The Starlit Rings where the arcs aren't pieced, that one goes by quite fast because you're not having to piece those arcs. Okay, let's see how we can sew. And I got a new presser foot, and this opening is not quite as wide as on the last one I tried. So we'll see if it works. And this is a curved seam, but as you go, it's more like a straight seam. You don't even realize you're sewing a curve. I kind of keep a little tension on this to keep it from puckering. Whoa. Keep that flat. This foot might just work. I was a little concerned with not having fabric all the way over on that feed dog on the right, about whether it would bunch this up too much, but I think it's doing pretty good. And I could always shift the needle position so I could have more fabric over that way. And I really want to hang on to this pin as long as I can to keep that end right where it's supposed to be. There we go. So there we have it. Doesn't look like I got any puckers in it. Awesome. And on the line on the back side, that's perfecto. Now I'm trying to remember which way I press the seam allowance. Kind of wants to go this way all on its own. So there's part A sewn to part C. And now we're going to make part B. And I want to make sure, yep, my colors are going to match. Okay, number 1 is a dark on both parts. See, we're going to make 24 arcs to make this table runner. Now I have 23 stacks here, all identical. So they're all made exactly the same. So we're going to take fabric piece number 1, put the wrong side facing up, put the foundation on top, and when it's like this, you want to be able to read the printing. And set it down with a 1/4 inch of fabric going past the line between 1 and 2. Get myself a pin here, hold this in place back here. And then we're going to turn it over and we're going to take fabric piece number 2, put right sides together, edges even. Turn it over and sew in the line. And you can go past the line go all the way out at least to the broken line. And I should be using darker thread, but I want you to be able to see it. Okay, now we're going to trim for number 3. Yeah, Charles, it's a lot easier to do it like this. I made one prior to developing this product, and it wasn't nearly as easy. And the problem with sewing curved seams when you don't have a foundation like this, it's just almost impossible not to stretch that curve when you're sewing it. And that's why you'll get the wavy, it won't come out even. And with this, no problem. Gonna steam up the camera. And you could, if you were home and you understood the process, you could stack up your stacks, since they're all identical, lay your stacks, you could tell which stack you took your last piece off of. Does that make sense? Anyway, you could chain piece these. And it would go faster. I just don't want to confuse you. And there's another way you can do it. You can cut the strips and sew cut the long strip and then sew these in order down the strip and then cut them all apart and press them and then do your next strip. That goes real fast, but it uses a little more fabric, and I might show it to you later on, like as an advanced thing, because it is kind of confusing. But there's a lot of ways to speed this process up. Sometimes I just like to just sit here and get in the rhythm of doing it, and you know, if it's not a hurry up, I got to get this finished project, but more of just a pleasing, I don't know, relaxing way to do it. I almost always recommend making at least one block. What we're making is actually a quarter of a block. It takes 4 of these sets to make one complete ring, and it's the complete ring that we call a block. So you get an 18-inch square to make one, that's one block. So like our block package, we have a 3-block package / refill. It would make the table runner again. And remember, our block packages do not have any instructions in them. So if you've never made one before, you might, I would highly recommend the pattern, because it's going to show you step by step how to do it. It's just something you can fall back on if you don't have access to this video. And then we sell a package with what we call 3 blocks, and it's the complete 3 complete rings. And then we also sell a package of blocks that have 6 complete rings. So if you bought, and remember, 3 complete rings is 54 inches long. So if you wanted to make a throw quilt or a bed quilt, just remember that every block is an 18-inch square. So for me, I would probably want to make it 54 inches wide, and then 4 long would be 72, and then add a border. So if you wanted to make it that size, that would be, what, 12 full blocks. So if you got the table topper pattern and instead of the table topper wanted to make a big quilt, you'd have to buy another refill or 3 block package and a 6 block package, and you'd have a 54 by 72 plus whatever borders you put on it. Oh, this is the last one. Now my 2 end pieces, pieces 9 and 10, I don't know if I'm going to like it or not, but we'll find out. I have lots of these fabrics, so I'm really thinking about doing the throw quilt. It's a little too lavender for me for my table, but I'm thinking it might be a nice throw quilt. Okay, so number 9, I guess it doesn't matter which way we do this. That's kind of wild. Actually, some places in here in this fabric there is lavender dots. I don't know why those lines don't go all the way out. And number 10 is a different dotted batik. We're sewing the double wedding ring. There's this black to white. Like I say, I used an ombre fabric on that. And the instructions for the pattern do include how to cut for ombre fabrics, as well as yardage like what I've used here. This might be a little wild. Okay, let's see. I know that I have to gonna trim on the curved edge. And the curved edge out here. Usually when I'm by myself, well, I am by myself, but not really, I cut this curved edge with my rotary cutter. I don't recommend that unless you're very, very comfortable using your outer quarter. I mean, you're using your rotary cutter. But if you keep this flat on the surface, let's see, that's number 9. Threads, threads, threads. Everywhere's threads. Okay, I'm gonna match these two to trim this one. As I know I corrected it on the blocks on the computer for printing out. Okay, yeah. Okay, so now we're going to put this one on this side. I want to, you don't need to snip anything for where pieces 9 and 10 are because they are a straight line. Okay. Yeah, that's going to be like that. So we're going to go like this. And we're going to match this point right here where the seam comes this way and the solid line this way. Right at that point, we're going to put a pin in there. And then we're going to stick it in right here at that seam. Make sure we hit the point on the other side. I'll get this so you can see it. See where my pin is here? It's right where this seam line and this solid line come together. And we're going to put a pin about this right now. This, see how this does not look like it's going to match? It will. Eventually it will. And then I'm going to go down to the other end and do the same thing. Put a pin in right here and match it right over here. Well, can usually tell right where the seam line, there we go. And pivot that around. You're only worried about matching this edge for piece B with piece C. Right there. We'll come back and make those match. So for right now, we're just gonna work our way around and pin as we go. Kind of make sure, yeah. And you don't want to pull or stretch anything. I mean, the foundation pretty much keeps you from being able to stretch it. Those edges, if your edges match, your seam line should match. And then this tells me if oh, look at that, it's going to be just right. Yep, okay, now we're going to sew. Oops. Got to match our ends. What you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and put a pin in it and straighten this out. Kind of pull this that way so that your edges are even. So see, from here, from this line all the way out to this point right here is a straight line. Then you sew your curve, then you come down here, and we're going to kind of just pivot that a little bit so our edges match here. Put a pin out here. And those are matching, those edges are matching. Okay, now we're going to sew. And don't worry, I'm not off. The blocks you get have been corrected. I did something crazy, so anyway, we're going to just sew this straight line and keep this fabric, so you keep this straight right down to where that pin is, where the seams all meet. Then we're going to lift the presser foot and we're going to move that fabric like that, because now we're going to be sewing on the curve. Whoops, a little extra thickness there. That's the one thing with this. I think this foot is not going to be the greatest. I'll keep looking. I really thought, in looking at what I was ordering, I thought this foot had longer toes and were even closer together. But I guess to work with the feed dogs, they can't be, they have to be over the feed dogs to make it feed properly. I do have a walking foot with an open toe. that I got, but it almost looks like the open toe is too wide. This one, it might work pretty good. I'll put it on before we do our show on Saturday so I can let you know if that will work. Okay, and I'm gonna come up here and stop right where that pin is. One more tiny. Okay, there we go. And then I'm gonna push that bulk out. So now, because now we're sewing a straight line. Just go all the way on out to the end. Now we'll see if I did it okay. And with my camera at the angle it is, I don't get to sneak peek it. So it's pretty good. Pretty, oops. I caught a little bit. Oh, I see what I did. I didn't have it straight. I'm going to take that little bit out. Oops. And I could have moved it a little further, and that would have avoided that. No biggie. You'll get the hang. It's been a long time since I've done this, but you'll get the hang of how you go from the straight to the curved. And I had a hunch it wasn't laying flat. Come on. Okay. Take that one out. I think that's all I had to do. I just didn't have it flat going to the straight seam. Because it matches perfect right here. But I had a little pucker there. Get rid of those threads. And stitch that down. Yeah, see, I just didn't lay it out flat. Oops. And a couple stitches past there. Oh yeah, that's laying much better. Well, I don't think it wants to move. There we go. Okay. Then we're going to take it to the, much better. Oh yeah, much better. Now we're going to take it to the ironing board. And I believe these are going to go Oh, I'm not crazy about that joint either. Boy, I'm not doing a real good job here today of showing you. I think we use this because it'd be too bulky at the point. Okay. Yeah, pressing out the other way keeps that from being too bulky there. Okay, so now we've got parts D and E to go on. And again, the inside curve we're going to clip. And it really doesn't matter which one you put on which part. So we will put it out like this. I gotta press, whoops. Oh yeah, that's fine. No pucker. Okay, so now I'm going to find the center here of this inside curve. Just sort of finger press it. You can put a pin in it or mark it however you want. Right sides together like that. Get my pins back over here. We'll put a pin in it. And then we're just gonna work our way towards the outside edge, matching the edges, kind of just roll them together. It's just a little bit awkward with the camera between me and my work. And when you get out here to the end, it's not going to go all the way. But don't worry, it's not supposed to. You just want to make sure that this point right here goes right at this seam line. Perfect. Just like that, and then we'll go this way. Work our way around. Remember, you don't want to pull or stretch anything. I don't know if you really could stretch it with the foundation. Remember, I have the foundation basted to the fabric. Make sure we go out, put a pin in right at that point, at the end of the line, and put that in right there at the seam. And match that up. Follow the curve. Oh, yeah, that works better. Sometimes you gotta readjust a little bit. It will fit perfectly. Move all that that out of the way, and let's stitch this down. Get it going. Not sure I like this foot that well. There we go. You know, if I weren't on camera, I would probably be stitching over my pins. I don't tell people to do that. It's not a good idea, but sometimes, see, I'm very close there. When I do it on my vintage machines, I don't feel too worried about it. If I knock it out of time, Bob can fix it right off. But I don't know what I do. I don't know on these. Of course, this is, I saw somebody was asking yesterday about Laura's machine versus my machine. It's the same machine. Mine is a Jazz 2. Mine is a mechanical. I do have some fancy stitches, or, you know, some utility stitches available on this. But I have to tell, oh, I have a very upset cat. She can't get in right now because she won't leave me alone. I just stitch all the way on out. Oh, poor baby. Okay. Oh, that's going to be pretty. Then we're just going to press this, and the seam allowance just goes towards the outside. And when we're done, we'll add the other side over here. This should measure 9.5 inches before we sew it, you know, to another block. But see, you just, on here, it just needs to go to this point because that's your 1/4 inch seam allowance. That's where when you sew it to another block, it will meet right here at this point. Threads. So now we've got to just clip and add the next side. Oh, poor baby. Mommy, let me in. Okay, and we're just going to do the same thing on this side. We'll match those two ends with that right there. And this end down here. You get pretty good at guessing where that 1/4 inch is after a while. And you just want to make sure that this edge matches the edge underneath. And then we're just going to work our way around. So I think I'll let you guys know for sure, but we just sort of committed today to doing a few more shows this year. I don't think we're going to be doing Houston. The date just doesn't work for us, and with no quilt market, I'm not sure how things will be. So, and I didn't get my teaching application in time. So, we're going to be doing a show in Scottsdale. I believe it's Labor Day weekend. And then we're going to go to Tucson in November. And the next week, we're going to go to, we've never done a show in Puyallup. So we're going to go there. Thought it'd be kind of fun to do a new venue. We haven't done Tucson in a number of years, and we haven't done Scottsdale in a couple of years. Okay, see, now I have a little extra there. I'm not going to stretch my fabric. I'm just going to work it on around because I know I know it will fit. See, it's already pretty much. There we go. It should come out even. So sometimes it just means maybe you didn't have them going the same. You might pull one a little bit, but it will fit. But all the blocks are made for this table runner are made the same way. If you're going to have the curved ends, you just don't have to. On 4 of the quarter blocks, you don't put the second corner on it. I don't know why, but I just think the rounded corners with a double wedding ring is just perfect. I've done it both ways, and I always go back to the curved ends. In fact, I did a throw one years ago. The rings were the outside edge, so it had the scalloped edge. It looked awesome. And this foot's not going to work. Don't fall, don't fall. Cut the threads. And then we're going to press this one. There we go. So there we have our first block. Yay! I don't know what this one's gonna look like. A lot of purple. So, well, we'll turn it like this. Put it there. Ouch. So, I have my next batch ready to go here. I'll show you how I just basted it. I'm still having trouble with my tension too, so. Let me close that. My next workshop is not, it's 4 weeks away. I'm going to be in Union City, California, and we're going to be making the migrating Lone Star, the small Lone Star block with migrating geese in the borders. And hopefully this afternoon I will be making a video for how to cut for that quilt. Just so if you're making that pattern, it's real easy for cutting. So, and then I will probably be doing a video around that same time on making that block. And I see Laura is working on Lia's. I got to just catch a couple minutes of her show yesterday. And I see she's doing the stars for my table. I don't know if she finished it or not, but I love that quilt. Okay, so then I would just go on and do around the center part, part C, and the other outer part. And then I give it a good pressing. See, my machine is still making it pucker up just a little bit. And then I, cut them out. And I just cut out way wide. Well, come on. There we go. And down like that. Then I take my scissors. Actually, ow. We'll take our ruler and we'll cut the 2 straight sides. Quarter inch from the solid line, and my dotted line is pretty accurate on this. And then across the ends, And then I'll take my scissors and we'll cut this curved edge. So, you know, what I'm going to do when we're done here is I'm going to do all of these. I'll sit and stitch them all. And then I'll probably take them home, and when we're watching TV tonight, I'll trim them. Because it's kind of mindless work to get them ready. And in that way, I can trim all the arcs out. I won't trim them on the line, but I'll trim around the outside line so that I can have them all ready. Since I have everything cut already, like I say, this is my stack. I cut through all 8 layers at one time, so then I just, alternated them so I can tell where each new block part starts. But there's all 8 are here and here and so forth all the way down. So this is piece number 1 on top, so they're all ready to go. And then my ends, they're 9 and 10, 9 and 10, 9 and 10. So it's all ready to go. So that's how easy it is. If you've got any questions, if you do, either send me a message or hold them till Saturday so I can get them answered. I guess let's just make another block. Where did I put? Oh, sorry. Pick them up off the floor. Oh, and there's the other one. Okay, oh, see here, I haven't finished trimming. Yeah, if I can get this done, we'll sew them together. Okay, so here we go again. And remember, you want to always work on the side. I'm just going to take this over here because I'm used to pulling them from over here. Wrong side facing up, put the foundation on top with a 1/4 inch going into space 2. And we can just, remember how I just based across there, and we don't have to do that around the outside edge after we get the block done. Okay, then we're going to turn it over and put fabric piece number 2, right sides, whoops, where'd we go? Right sides together. Try to make the edges even. Turn it over and stitch on the line. Okay, and when the foundation is like this, you want to be able to read the numbers. There's number 2, 3, 4, so on. Double, I need a piece of white behind here. Double wedding ring part A. You want to make sure you can read that, because if you flip it over, then when you go to put them together, your colors aren't going to work out the way you want them to. So it's very important that you always work on the right side of the foundation. And you're working on the right, this is the right side. This is the side you sew on and that you trim on. So that's the right side, and then you're always looking through it to the wrong side of your fabrics. Very, very important. So we're going to get ready to add piece number 3. This is space 3. There's where I'm going to sew it on. So we're going to line our straight edge up with the next seam line, and you only worry about the next piece, about trimming for the next piece. Just that's all you need to worry about. Take fabric piece number 3, put right sides together. And this one's small enough I don't need to pin it. I can hold the fabric in place pretty easily with this one. If you don't feel comfortable, obviously you can pin it, but put the pin back away from where you're going to sew. Clip those threads. And then we're going to take it to the ironing mat, and we're going to set those stitches, and then we're going to open it up and press it nice and flat. Those seams are super flat. That's one thing I really like about working with a batik. Now we're going to do number 4. And I said earlier, I cut these a little bit bigger. I believe the pattern says to cut them 2 inches by 2.5. And then piece 9 and 10 cut at 2.5 by 2.5. I just cut everything at 2.5. And piece number 4. Whoops. Turn it over and stitch on that line. Yeah, this foot is not quite what I wanted. It's better than the other one, but it's still, the toes are still a little far apart. It would be nice if they could make them, see, they center on the feed dogs. If they could make these a little wider in both directions so there's less open space here. Because what happens is, as it's going along, sometimes it doesn't feed the foundation through real evenly, and so you might get a little distortion if you're not careful. The vintage machines have the perfect foot. It's open toe, but it's, you know, they come down. It's only open about like that, so you can still see where your needle's stitching, but it moves the fabric through nice and even. Okay, so we're gonna add piece number 5. And you know, this is my normal workspace, so you can see you don't need, I mean, I do have a really big cutting table, because that's where I cut all my fabric kits. But this works just great. Everything's nice and close, but I have enough space here to work on pretty big projects. And when I'm done here today, I am finishing the hexie quilt that I made, what was that, our second week? And it's been on the machine ever since. I have not had a chance to even turn that machine on. and I am determined I'm going to get it done today. And then I am going out and I get to drive I get to drive tractor today. Yay! It's beautiful. Well, yeah, it's pretty nice outside. Piece number 7. Yay. This is gonna be purple. I'll tell you what, on Saturday, I will be prepared and I will show you a couple of different ways. Like I was talking earlier about doing it in strips to make this go faster. I'll show you. I don't want to get you confused, but we'll put it as a little more advanced instructions. Just if you're making a big quilt, it might really help you to speed it up. Okay, so there we've got part A finished again. This really isn't taking too long. Oh, I've been on an hour and 20 minutes and I've got one block done and almost done piecing for the second block. So let me trim the end here. Trim this end. And then we'll use our scissors to cut the curve. I know the printing's kind of dark. I mean, the fabric's kind of dark, so the printing doesn't really, probably doesn't show up on camera as well. Turn around, cut the other side. And you could piece all of these arcs first. Now that I've got the first block done, that's probably, I'll probably want to get the other 3 so I can get a complete circle put together. So there we have that part and that part ready to go. Here is part B. So off my stack, I will take the next 8 pieces and we'll start wrong side facing up. Take fabric or the foundation, put it on top. And the only reason we don't go 1, 2, 3, that we don't include the 2 end pieces as 1, 2, 3 instead of 1 being here and 10 being here, instead of making this 1 and this 2, is I wanted to keep part A and part B, the piece numbers 1 through 8 the same in the same spot. Otherwise, it would be just way too confusing. So, going to set it with space number 1 here, 1/4 inch past the line. Turn it over. So the wrong side of the foundation is up. The right side of the fabric is up. And set fabric piece number 2 even with that edge where it goes 1/4 inch past the line. And then we'll move it over to the machine. Turn it over. So we're stitching on the line between space 1 and space 2. Take it to the ironing board. Open that up. Press it nice and flat. Now we're going to get ready to add piece number 3. That's where we're going to sew number 3 on. So we will fold this back. You never want to cut your foundation, and you never want to cut without your add a quarter ruler. I must not have stressed that enough in my workshop on Tuesday. I had 2 people, I think, in this class cut their foundations, but we made them work. I'll show you a secret that I had to use when I first started out. Oops, I'm out of bobbin thread, and I don't have any more wound. I didn't get a chance to look. But I'll show you what I did. Let's get this one pressed. Whoops. Oh yeah, when I first started out, because I was not used to using the add a quarter, and this is when I first started paper piecing. Like so many people had never done it before, and I put a piece of tape around whatever I was using for a straight edge. I put my add a quarter up against it like that, and then I put a piece of tape around the top so it was like a hinge. So then I could set my straight edge where I needed to and then just fold this down. It was just a way of reminding myself to use it. So if you have trouble remembering, if you've cut your foundation or use this but forgot to use the you did like this and folded this back and then cut it, more than likely you're cutting your foundation if you're cutting very close to this. So like I say, if I don't have any tape here close by, if you have this taped as a hinge, when you fold this back, it's right there in front of you, so you probably would remember to use it. Just until you get into the swing of it. That is a way to remember and to avoid some headaches. Because on this one, if I would have not cut the 1/4 inch past the line, I would have to take this piece off and use a new one. It wouldn't work. So you want to always, always, always use your add a quarter ruler when you're trimming. Let me see. I do not have any more. This might be a good place to stop for the day. Um, I think we will. I hope this encourages you all to want to make a double wedding ring. That's our first block we did today. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to wind some bobbins, and I'm going to get maybe 3 more done so I can have them put together for you for Saturday. And then we will, or I'll have them ready to sew together so I can show you how they go together. And then we will work on the wedding star. So, and it's made very similarly. It's just that we're going to add that star. So that will give us time to also do the starlet ring, show you how fast the blocks go together when your arc is all one piece of fabric. And our double wedding ring rail quilt is made that way. It was a super fast, and it's a king size quilt, and it was super fast to get done. So we'll go over all of that on Saturday. If you have any questions, please you can either send them to me, Deb at Easy Piecing. Send them to me so I can answer them on Saturday, or show you whatever the question is, show you how to do what you're asking about. And I guess we will see you on Saturday at noon. And don't forget, Laura's on tomorrow morning, 7 to 9 on the West Coast, noon to 2. Oh no, she's 10 to noon on the East Coast, 7 to 9 on the West Coast. And I'll be on noon till about 2 on Saturday. So we'll see you then. Thanks for tuning in. And don't forget to send me your questions. We'll talk to you later. Bye bye.